Battlefield 5 public beta is here, and frankly, unsurprisingly, given what we've seen so far from DICE with Battlefield 5, things aren't going as smoothly, probably as planned. There's plenty of issues with the public beta, there's plenty of criticism to be made, but there's also some positive notes to take from it. What the conclusion ultimately is going to be of this video, however, is most definitely, thank God they delayed this game, because if they hadn't, I can guarantee you at this point, we would have been looking at another Battlefield 4-like launch for Battlefield 5, and not the kind of, from at least a technical perspective, smooth and finished launch that we saw for Battlefield 1. But before getting into some of the problems, let's talk briefly about some of the improvements, noticeable and important improvements, that definitely have come from this build of Battlefield 5 versus the alpha build and of course Battlefield 1. One, and frankly, personally, to me, the most important is the clearly improved map design. And this is more over Battlefield 1 than kind of the Arctic Fjord alpha version of Battlefield 5. There's a clear focus on cover here. There's a clear focus on creating a balanced gameplay environment where vehicles and different classes with different ideal engagement distances can all interact and battle it out, if you so will, without one or two of them becoming redundant. My big gripe with Battlefield 1, my main gripe with Battlefield 1, was the map balance. Most maps were either extremely long range, extremely close quarter, or both of the two. Rarely did you get also some medium range combat, let alone a balanced variety of engagement distances. That was few and far maps in between with Battlefield 1, especially on the larger game modes such as Conquest and of course Operations. It was a little bit better if you played some Frontlines or some Rush. Doesn't seem to be the case, at least here in Battlefield 5. Arctic Fjord was already not that bad in that terms. There was definitely a variety of gameplay and combat there. Rotterdam confirms that most definitely. It's not another Amiens, not that Amiens was necessarily not a fun map to play, but Rotterdam has a far larger variety of gameplay in terms of engagement distances, in terms of the way infantry and vehicles, although not airplanes, interact with each other. That is most definitely the place for the close quarter assault or medic, the medium range support, and the long range scout in the case of Rotterdam, and I would argue even also in the case of Arctic Fjord. Besides that, the changes made to scarcity and attrition that we've seen already in the game's called build, but of course also now in this public beta, are most welcome. I'm not a fan of attrition and scarcity, and these mechanics make them a little bit more workable for those of us who know they're ultimately going to be let down by your average team player who's not necessarily on comms with you when playing Battlefield 5. The fact that you can now hold a health pouch with you at all times and then use it, of course only once and you need to recharge it, makes you a little bit more independent. Also, the way they've implemented and changed the way you give out ammo and health, at least for these small pouches, which we've been more or less focusing on here in the beta, it's clear that they're trying to make it easier not only to be independent, but more importantly to play in a team play positive manner. It's really easy to spam out health, really easy to spam out ammo to everybody around you, and as soon as I really got my hands on the small medic pouch and started playing a little bit of medic, every time I saw any of my teammates, I just basically hit the medic pouch button. If they needed health, they got one thrown to them and instantly had either the health topped up or that extra medic pouch that they don't necessarily have when they spawn, or I just didn't throw one out because it's automatic. So that realization was nice. That's a nice change. It's a small change, but it's an important change because over time, otherwise, players like myself are going to become very frustrated with the scarcity principle. All we really need now is that players actually realize that they can engage in team play without going out of their way, so that I don't have to continuously run back to base to get some more ammunition. That'd be great, teammates, please. That aside though, another couple things that I did want to mention on the ticket bleed. I know we already had in the alpha, but it's amazing. Thank God we've got our old Conquest system back. I'm not personally a big Conquest fan. I tend to focus more on kind of frontline linear game modes such as Operations, Frontlines, and Rush. But I can say the ticket bleed is a massive improvement over what we had in Battlefield 1. We did actually have a game today where we lost by a single ticket, having come back from over a 100 ticket kind of trail on the enemy team. Far more exciting that way than knowing from basically halfway through the game, you've lost this game, you may as well sit back, check on your pizza in the oven or something like that, because you're not going to be able to turn it around anymore no matter what happens. And lastly, something I did want to mention was soldier movement, grenade spam, these kind of pet peeves from Battlefield 1. Definitely massively improved. Very little AD spam, no grenade spam, I would say. The amount of deaths I got today in playing over 6 hours of Battlefield when it came to grenades, I could probably count them on one hand, so less than 5. I can only really remember 1 at this point in time. So definitely much improved from Battlefield 1, comparable to Battlefield 4, if not even less grenade spam than you had there. I'm not, of course, talking about Battlefield 4 and Metro. That was something else. But let's now talk then about some of the negatives. And for those who have been keeping up with the beta or have already played it will know this game is not in a launch-ready state. Heck, this game is a long way from it. DX12, for those who are playing on PC, completely unstable. Causes micro stutters, doesn't work. At least personally for me, I had to go straight to DX11. There was no chance I was ever going to be able to play successfully with DX12 running. Lots of smaller bugs in there as well. The way bipods behave when you try to ADS, when you're already firing, oh boy. I mean, you're lucky if you get out of there alive, let alone actually down your target, because your crosshairs and your scope are just going to go sideways, quite literally. A lot of other smaller things there as well. I was in a Junker attack plane at one point, trailing a bomber. I was getting hit markers, a lot of them. I was doing no damage, apparently. I was not getting a single point for damage. I shot at somebody today in the beta and I got 1 hit point per bullet hit. So I ended up doing 2 or 3 points of damage to him. And there is no juggernauts in Battlefield 5, so something must have been going wrong there as well. And also the random encounters, when you have a one-on-one with somebody, like let's say within 5 meters, you're both straight up facing each other, you both have your crosshairs right over the enemy target, you both start firing pretty much at the same time with the same gun. And these situations have happened to me because the STG is the most popular weapon in the game by far. And sometimes you maybe only do 20 damage to them while they outright kill you when you're on full health. The other time it goes the other way around. And it just seems like there's a lot of inconsistency there. And given with the combination of kind of the inconsistent damage where you're only getting 1 or 2 damage when shooting at other people, also in vehicles, I suspect netcode. And it worries me because bad netcode takes a long time to fix, as we saw in Battlefield 4. I hope this is maybe just server performance and things are, a bit shaky as they are usually with the launch of the beta. We, of course, didn't even have proper squad functioning to the beginning of today's day with the public beta, so who knows? But what I can definitely confirm is there's a lot of work on the technical side that still needs to be done to avoid another Battlefield 4-like launch for Battlefield 5. Besides that, we've still got missing features. What happened to dragging bodies? And what on earth is going on with the interface? Because it is most definitely not complete. How am I supposed to equip new weapons that I unlocked during a match by leveling up my support without leaving the game? It's actually not possible. If you unlock a new weapon, you have to actually leave the server to, in essence, get it so that it shows up in your list of available weapons. It's stupid. It frankly is quite literally stupid that you can't do this in game, let alone between rounds. No, you have to fully leave the server. Also, when it comes to the progression elements, something I will be doing a video on its own, if I say choose a certain progression tree for my STG but then want to change it at a later date, how do I do that? You can't tell me that I can never now change my STG. That would be ridiculous. But at least currently, so it seems, there is no way to change that. Change my upgrades. And I've of course already mentioned the issues with the LMG bipods, and those are just a few of the issues that surround this game, and either lack of features, poor design, interface, lack of clarity of what is actually going on. There's a lot of work to still be done. But let's mention something else, and that's team play, because as I mentioned earlier, the necessary groundwork has been laid. Team play is most definitely necessary, and it's quite easy to provide ammo and health to your fellow teammates. Is it happening? Most definitely not. Not a lot of revives going around, almost no health going around, absolutely no ammo going around on Conquest, on either of the maps, or of course on Grand Operations on Navik. I always end up running back to base to get health or ammo. And it's gotten me killed countless times because I have to take a risky route just to get something so I can shoot at somebody, or I come across an enemy where I don't have the necessary tools to deal with them anymore. And it's most frustrating because, well, yes, I can blame my teammates, I can't actually do anything about them, but I can complain to DICE and tell them to either encourage squad play and team play more, and I don't know, in any form they can, bonus points, more points for health, more points for ammo, better interface communication so that people know that I need health, know that I need ammo, or any other creative idea they can come up with. Proximity points for staying close to your squad leader, as you get it when you play GTA or something like that. Just give me something so that these people start giving me health and ammo, because I will end up losing my mind otherwise. And last, and this is a problem that still exists from the alpha, and I know they've tried to improve it, but I want to point out that they haven't done enough, is visibility. Boy oh boy, is it tough to see somebody 50 to 75, 100 meters out, prone, bipoded, with a scout weapon, who's standing still, who's stationary. You don't see them, frankly, actually. You don't. And this isn't down to graphic settings. I've played on high with relatively low FPS, and I've played on low settings for the majority of my day because I prefer my 120 FPS when I'm playing at 1440p. You still can't see them. It doesn't make a difference. It's not a matter of visual distractions. It's a matter of they blend in way too well with their surrounding, and unless they're moving, you don't see them. And you don't have 3D spot to assist you, which is fine. You don't have the minimap to assist you, which is fine. But then you gotta make sure that I can see the enemy before he puts a bullet through my skull and I'm back in the respawn screen. Speaking of the respawn screen, can somebody explain to me when I'm actually revivable and when not? Because it seems like 1/3 of my deaths, I just go straight to the respawn screen without ever having a chance of being revived. And this seems independent of whether there's teammates around me, whether there's medics around me, whether there's a squad mate around me that is still alive, whether my squad is dead or intact. It seems to happen randomly. And I cannot for the life of me, in these 6-7 hours I've played today, figure out why and when it actually causes me to not be revivable. It's not a matter of being trapped in some box or anything else, and it's not a matter of just laying there and somebody can't physically revive me. It literally boots you straight to the respawn screen. And I would like a little bit of communication there from DICE to understand what apparently I'm doing wrong, or more probable in my opinion, DICE, fix it. It's a bug. It's no good. I want to be able to be revived, even though nobody is actually going to end up reviving me, let's be honest. That being said, that's your rundown of the Battlefield 5 beta. Can I compliment DICE on putting out a close to finished product that's going to build hype for its game? No, most definitely. I think they've made a mistake not delaying this beta, because many people are looking at this game right now and deciding whether or not they want to buy it, and given the technical unstable state of the game, they're probably going, how about no? Whereas if you compare it to Battlefield 1's beta, that did an excellent job of building hype and anticipation for the game because it was polished, it was finished. It didn't have all the guns, all the maps, all the game modes, but what it did have ran well, functioned well, and gave you an indication of some of the elements that would work well in Battlefield 1. Frankly, we didn't see all the elements that possibly weren't going to be so good. That being said though, let me know down below in the comments what your experiences have been with the public beta once you get your hands on them, as well as of course your thoughts around the current development of Battlefield 5. If you enjoyed this video, found it helpful, let me know down below in the comments, hit me up on Twitter, and don't forget to give me a thumbs up. That being said though, I'd like to thank you very much for watching, and hope to see you in the next Battlefield 5 video.